Hello everyone, Camilla here from Decodable Readers Australia. Today I'm going to give you 5 key considerations in taking your parent community on your science of reading journey. Now, parents play a pivotal role in their child's education, and it is so important to have a united front between school and home and ensure that best practice is happening at both and that students get the same message. So we have these 5 tips to consider in how you can engage that parent community in your science of reading journey. Now, next week is super exciting as well because we have a special guest that we're going to interview that will take us on his journey and what his school has done to engage their community as well. But let's dive in today and look at key consideration number 1. Key consideration number 1, inform your community of a change and why that change is happening. Now, no doubt you have some parents that fall under some of these categories. The first category is that maybe they've had multiple children come through the school, and some of their older children have used methodologies that are from the old balanced literacy or whole language approach, and they're used to predictable readers and how to help and support using the old methodologies. Now, it's important that they join your journey, but maybe you have parents that have a child that's just starting out, their first child learning to read. It's really important that they learn the methodologies that the school is using, just to make sure you have that united front. And if you're lucky enough, maybe you have a parent community that are already on the journey. Maybe they're teachers themselves that you can really engage in the journey with you as well. And we call them the parent influencers that can help and assist you along the way. Now, how do you inform your parents? One of the best ways is using your website, having a place to go that you can always point back to, so a static place, and that is best on a website. Let's jump in and have a look at a few websites of schools that have done this. Now, the first one here is Bentleigh West Primary School. When I go onto Bentleigh West Primary School website, I can straight away see in their curriculum tab how they teach literacy and how it's broken down into those big 6. Also, if we keep going, we can see that Clayton South Primary School also have a tab in their curriculum, and they specifically talk about the science of reading. And if you have a look at the other tab, there's a systematic synthetic phonics approach and what that means, as well as describing their learning support, and you can see a common thread through them all. Now, this one here, Bighorn Elementary School, has one of the best handouts that I've seen that you can download. This handout is truly wonderful because not only does it take you through the key concepts around the science of reading, but the school has adapted the information to suit their setting and has explained to their parent community the types of instruction that will happen at their school in their classrooms. It also takes them through some of the old methodologies and why they have changed and shifted. I'll make sure that I put the links to these wonderful school examples on this video post. Now, let's have a look at key consideration number 2. Take your community on the journey weekly. It's super important that you are consistent and regular when delivering a message, especially a message as important as the science of reading. So I encourage schools to adopt a methodology in their delivery that is weekly. Now, no doubt you have a school newsletter. Maybe there could be a little snippet on the science of reading or some examples of what's happening in the classroom or how you respond to a reader on the newsletter. Or another great way is through social media. If your school has a Facebook page, maybe you can deliver a little timely message once a week, either around the science of reading to build knowledge or examples of how this knowledge is being implemented in the classroom as practice. Now, let's jump in and have a look at a few examples. Here's a great example where the school principal has addressed the science of reading in a newsletter and how their school's going to adopt these methodologies. Also on Facebook, what a great way to showcase the fantastic work that's actually happening in classrooms. Doing a post or a video about classroom practice is not only celebrating the students, but allows the parents to see what that good practice looks like. So consider doing a post either with classroom practice as example, or maybe around the building of knowledge. You could find some great posts from other sites like ourselves at Decodable Readers Australia and share that to your page. Just one post a week will really allow you to deliver a consistent message. Now, it can be the sharing of knowledge or the celebration of classroom practice, as long as they all align to the science of reading. Let's have a look at key consideration number 3. Invite your community to an information session or webinar. Now, my favorite is a face-to-face information session because it helps develop the relationship, that know, like, trust factor. However, through these uncertain times, that may not be an available option for you. So a webinar, inviting your parent community to a webinar may be more suitable. However you do it, make sure you're delivering this consistent message of the science of reading, but more importantly, the why we need to take this journey. Key consideration number 4 is to send home decodable texts and support resources that match the science of reading. It's extremely important that parents understand how and why these books are very different to what they may have experienced in the past. These aren't the regular leveled texts that require you to prompt in a certain way. These are controlled texts and they have a purpose in the learning to read process. So it's important to inform your parents of the differences and give them the knowledge and know-how of how to support their student and their reading. Sending a resource home like the poster that's on your screen allows both the child and the parent to have the correct strategies for decoding. So nowhere on this poster is to look at the pictures or to guess the words. It really teaches the student and the parent supporting that the importance is on decoding and knowing those letter sound correspondences. Resources like this are going to not only support the child in their journey, but be consistent with the types of prompts that you're using as a teacher now that you're following the science of reading. Now let's have a look at key consideration number 5. Train up and use some community members in your classroom. Once you feel confident in your classroom practice, you can start bringing your community back in, but it's important that you train them in the right methodologies that align with your new science of reading practice. Bring in those parents that are willing to have a training session and train them of how to listen appropriately and correctly to a child reading. So there you have it, 5 key considerations to take your parent community on your science of reading journey. Don't forget to join me next week as we have a great interview with a special guest that has been on this journey and can share insightful information about how this particular school has really engaged their community. I'll see you next week.